Since from yesterday Bitcoin didn't make much of new moves, I will just make a short update today, guys, but still some things I would like to share with you. First of all, we are continuing making those higher lows, although recently the momentum seemed to be a bit fading, and although we are still holding this new highest channel, it seems like we are not that bullish as it was like here or here, for example. An interesting thing though is that recently we had these rise areas, like 1, 2, 3 areas, and you see here there was like a relatively high volume of those areas, and every time the volume was growing. And also at the periods when we didn't have much of the price action, so it was pretty much flat, the background volume, as I would call it, was also very small at the beginning, but then next time it was higher, and now we have much higher background volume at this relatively flat region in the last new channel. I think it is reasonable because we are approaching the major resistance here, and it seems like we are like in front of the strong move one way or another. And if you are considering like where price will go, when shall you close your long or open your short or whatever, first thing which I would pay attention to, and of course this is not financial advice, guys, just my personal opinion, is that if you see this pattern, which we talked like a few videos ago about the testing previous lows and very fast abrupt changes and rises up back to the previous channel, upwards basically, then if this trend will be broken, if we will see first lower low, and if we will see that it doesn't form with this sort of sharp, very long candle with a long lower shadow, then it means that we may have a chance that this will be continuing to going to the downside and this rising trend will be over. On the other hand, we shall realize that before the rise, if it will happen, then it would be very reasonable for the whales to press the price a little lower to make sort of a bear trap before moving the price to a new high. So at least if the price will go that low and we'll consider that the trend is over and we see the reversal of the trend to being bearish, so we need to look at the point of how long the price stays below this line and whether it is going back very soon or not. So probably it's better to sell and then return back to buy in when the price, if the price will return back here and we see some decent price action. But of course, again, it's my personal opinion on the matter. Another thing which I was going to show you is that sort of a fractal behavior of the price. Before the pump, you can see that we were having quite long sideways price action, so I just took this area and translated it here, a little bit contracted on the x-axis. So you see it resembles the behavior of the price after the rise quite a lot. And although we went to this sideways after that, so the price didn't go up, it still seems, at least one may think that similar algorithm maybe work in this way and preparing the ground before the pump, so it's still valid in that point. So I would still consider the rise after some sideways price action as being more reasonable than going down. Another thing which I was going to show you today is the tweet from Renato Shirakashi. If you remember, we were talking about NVT, network value to transaction, which is basically capitalization of Bitcoin divided by the value of the transaction in United States dollars. And he was plotting the inverse NVT for a while, and he showed this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 peaks on the signal, showing that we have 1, 2, 3, 4 peaks in the current situation. And then he expected to see number 5, so it was like before number 5 when he posted it the first time, and then we finally see 5. We see very similar behavior of inverted NVT, so it's pretty much confirming that this has similar pattern. And he even say that, okay, we could say that bear market is over. Blue line also reached red line, and blue line, I mean, he means the price went over the realized cap. We also talked about this before, so quite positive in my opinion. Also, we have news from China saying that, okay, we want to ban Bitcoin mining. And if it is an attempt to spread the FUD, it's actually quite weak one, because there is no dates, there is no legal power of that, there is no laws. It's just some kind of recommendation to some local governments to exclude mining from the business process on their level, so basically nothing. And Twitter already laughed upon this thing, so we shall not probably consider that, and price didn't react at all. Another thing which I was going to show you today is the Binance coin and the way it looks these days. So first of all, I would like you to look at these support lines, how like trend lines, how the price went from the end of December. Basically, it started to grow. Then we had this line with a sharper rise, and now it actually became even sharper. So just very recently it tested this line once again and bounced off of this line, and I was posting the tweet about that and also in my Telegram channel about that. You see guys, maybe at this point, it was somewhere around here, I was saying that it's probably time to buy BNB, at least pay attention to that, because you see it seems like this bounce is very likely, and the way and why I actually paid attention to that as well is that the stochastic oscillator played out really nicely on 4 hours chart. You see every time when stochastic was very low here, and here as well. So every time price was very low, like had a correction, and then eventually after that it went up over and over again. So this 1, 2, 6 times this thing happened, and every time it played really nicely. And again, when I was tweeting this and like posting in my Telegram, it was somewhere around here. So I was saying that okay, let's wait for the bounce, and probably it will something do like this. And indeed, we did a little bit more of the move to the downside and then return to the positive territory. So of course it's not 100% clear that the price will like make a new high or something, but every time we saw that it indeed grew, at least on this period of time when we had quite of the bullish behavior of BNB. Also, I must show you the daily chart when we have this stochastic oscillator having this support line, and all that trend is valid until the support line holds. I mean, when we constantly see the price going higher and higher and higher, then this sort of trend may be reasonable. And on the daily chart, if the stochastic will go below this line, then this thing may be invalid. So pay attention to the next time, guys. Maybe it will be not working anymore. At least look at the daily chart. Another coin which I was going to show you is XRP. And for XRP, I would like to look at the weekly chart. A lot of people were saying, okay, how's XRP? It's so long, going low, and probably should go upwards sometime, and every other like huge cap coins already went up and XRP didn't, so we shall expect like a huge bounce. Well, first of all, I had this triangle for a while, and it seems like we need to touch it once again and maybe jump off this point like here and make a new rise. But guys, be careful. First of all, this is the situation with XRP to BTC, and actually even stochastic shows us some rise here as well as it was something around here. So you see this first intersection and very low stochastic point was before the price tested this line, and then after it happened we have the stochastic going much higher. If this will happen, then it's probably better to wait for the confirmation and the start of this rise, and then we can like enter the position and have this profit on the next rise if it will happen. But on the other hand, I must warn you that if you look at the chart with dollars, then first, again, we had this nice triangle, and we already had the breakout of this triangle. But on a daily time frame, if you look at the stochastic oscillator again, then you would see that the price is actually higher. This peak is higher than this one and even this one, but stochastic is almost at the same level. So especially these last two peaks. So even this and this one is opposite. So this one is higher than this one, and it is a bearish divergence, guys, which means that although it's solid volume, etc., we may have a return to the previous lows and even below that because of this bearish divergence. So it's maybe a bull trap, so be very careful. And if you see the return to something like this, maybe this is not sustainable, at least in the short term. So and the rest of the coins are pretty much low, with maybe except Nano, which is surging. So I was talking about Nano for a while, like a month or a few months ago, when it was quite low. So if you did enter the position, then congratulations. If no, well, it's still not that bad, but be careful and use your stop orders and so on. So that is it for today. Let's wait how the situation with Bitcoin will evolve, and see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you for watching.